Do you want an amazing marriage? Are you ready to take your marriage to the next level? Then stick around for Your Marriage Matters podcast with marriage coach Lynn. Let's put some fun and sizzle into your relationship.
Before you get married. The next 4 episodes are part of a series titled Before You Get Married. This is for those of you who are not yet married, as well as for the newly married and for the parents of young adults who are looking forward to marriage. I'm going to be posing dozens of questions that are intended before marriage, but can also benefit the newly married. Before marriage, it's easy to get caught up in how the other person makes us feel, to the extent that most of us neglect to disclose background information or shortcomings about ourselves. Maybe we neglect to share some family secret that should be shared before marriage. Guess what? Those hidden embarrassments and uncomfortable stories will surface at some point in the future. We miss a lot about our partner because we have selective vision. That's why I've designed these episodes to help you probe more deeply into yourself and your future partner. Today, we'll talk about making sure you bring your best self to the marriage and that you are in a position of being a top-notch mate. It's difficult when 2 people get married where one or both partners are broken in a major way. I'll talk about this idea of brokenness soon. Next week, the topic will be on knowing your partner. How well do you truly know your partner? Then, an episode on how do you know if he or she is the right one? And finally, the 4th episode in this series will be titled Preparing for Marriage. I'd like to start today's episode with something that might surprise you, and that is the notion that it's important for one or both of you to be lively, to be positive, to be interested in moving forward, adapting to change, able to deal with what life throws you, the challenges, the suffering, loneliness, success. You will undoubtedly encounter one or more of the following at some point in your life: financial burdens, job loss, major job challenge, family challenges, or health and medical difficulties. Can you roll with it? You're in for a tough ride on this roller coaster of life if you are an extreme planner and controller. My podcast introduction contains the word sizzling for a reason. Sizzling is part of this liveliness I'm talking about, having a zest for life, being adventurous, open to change. I'm not saying you have to be extroverted or constantly on the lookout for newness, but our biology tells us that we are living organisms. We are not stagnant. We're always in a state of flux, and we have to feed our bodies, minds, and souls with healthy nourishment. We don't want our lives or relationships to fester, rot, and die. Sizzling and liveliness means positivity, curiosity. We don't want indifference or resignation. Guard against negativity, pity, laziness, defeatism. If your temperament is prone to these darker traits, I'm not sure you're ready for marriage. That is a great burden to bring to a relationship. You need to bring your best self at this moment in time to a lifelong relationship. Many of us are busy fulfilling our needs. How about looking to see how you can be of service to others? Please don't marry your partner because you're broken and you expect this person to save you from loneliness or misery. Parents and families aren't doing a good job at training their children to demonstrate genuine compassion and kindness towards others. Individual fulfillment is the name of the game in this look at me generation. The excessive selfies and attention to the self is off-putting. We are all in search of individual enlightenment. For marriage, you need to cultivate a sense of us, togetherness. Are you ready and able to do this? Being the right mate means you are focused on cultivating a sense of us. Your mission in life as a married partner is to focus on the us. You're not going to lose your identity or sense of I, but instead, you need to place us as a priority. Marriages go south when each partner is preoccupied with I rather than us. Remember on my very first episode, I talked about you are a team. You are working for the betterment of a team. Our culture has been in an affluent and entitlement phase. We live for the creature comforts, the luxury items, the vacations. Our culture is dripping in narcissism. I will do a podcast episode on narcissism in a few weeks. Narcissism is a huge threat to a loving relationship. Let's talk about brokenness. Many newlyweds consider their partner a strong person, a comfortable companion they can lean on, or someone to rescue them from something, perhaps financial burdens. Perhaps they are looking for unconditional love they didn't experience as a child. They want a best friend and someone they can ride off into the sunset with. Marriage is not a Nicholas Sparks novel or Disney movie. Marriage does include romance, amazing times together, but you will also be challenged as you go through a lifetime with one partner. You will find that you need to adapt, adjust, and grow. That's my motto: adapt, adjust, and grow. One person should not fulfill all of your needs. That's pressuring. You are off track if you project your needs and desires onto your beloved. What is it that you need to know about yourself before getting married? Take a look at the Johari window on my website in the resources section, marriagecoachlynn.com. You need to have self-awareness and insight about your strengths, weaknesses, and insight about what you share with the world and what you prefer to keep hidden. Sometimes we do this on automatic pilot, but we need to have an awareness about all of this. Also, what is your pain? Can you please reveal this to your partner? Surprise, surprise. Oh, how so many people make interesting discoveries after the wedding day. Keeping things hidden simply means that it will be discovered later on, and the price to pay is often higher than getting things out on the table now, before marriage. Let's say you're allergic to cats, and your partner is the head of a county rescue organization. She keeps 10 to 20 cats in cages in her garage awaiting adoption. Please tell your partner you are allergic to cats before getting married. True story. This couple are no longer married. Are you willing to commit yourself to love as a decision and not a feeling? It's a decision because your spouse might bore you at times. You might not like him or her at times. You might have long or frequent periods of being upset. So love has to be a decision during those times. Has to be a decision during disillusionment, if disillusionment should temporarily set in your relationship. Newlyweds often chuckle at this, thinking they are invincible and they will never get bored or annoyed. Let's check in with you in 10 years. Those cute little habits of your spouse might become annoying as time goes on, and you're going to have to deal with it because love is a decision. Know your values and convictions, or big rocks. Pay attention to those big rocks. Make them known to your partner. What do you care about? That question gives you a clue as to what are your big rocks, your values, your convictions. What is your learning preference? Are you visual, kinesthetic, auditory? What is your love language? Have you taken various personality inventories such as Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, the MBTI? How about the Enneagram, the Keirsey Temperament Sorter, the Influence Style Questionnaire, or the ISQ? What is your intelligent quotient, your emotional quotient, your relationship quotient, otherwise known as IQ, EQ, RQ? Take a look at the book Strengths Finders 2.0 by Tom Rath. Do you have a good grasp of the difference between men and women's needs, and where do you fit in along the theories? What are your dreams, goals, and how would they fit in with marriage? Are you highly driven and like to work 70 hours a week? Does your partner know this about you? Pay attention to red flags, those gut instincts that are shouting to you. What you sweep under the rug today will be uncovered at some point. As for having children, where do you stand on this topic? What do you envision as to future size of your family? What is your desire? How important is it? If you want children and are faced with infertility, how do you think you would handle that? Are you both in agreement? From my experience, it is important for both to be in agreement. We don't want too many surprises when we are talking about the big issues in marriage, and children is a big one. Do you have a child from a previous marriage? Does your mate have a child? And how do you get along with his or her child? Are you aware of what you do for soothing when you are in pain? Alcohol, biting your nails, shopping, taking a long drive? You need to know these things about yourself and then tell your partner how you cope. Early on in a relationship where we all put forth our best untarnished self, we don't notice and aren't looking for all of these things that I'm talking about. Do you or your partner avoid issues? Are you stuffing anything down? Are there any current addictions, previous addictions? Tell your partner those previous addictions and how you overcame them. Is there an abortion or abuse in your past? Do you suffer from PTSD or trauma? These things need to be brought out in the open. What was the reason for the breakup of a long-term relationship or previous marriage? What is your spiritual or religious practice? How important is it to you? Does dating this person mean you are going to compromise, keep it hidden, or do you feel free to express your religion? If you are in alignment when it comes to religion or spirituality, that tends to make it easier. If you have different beliefs, do you feel respected or held back? The same is true for political beliefs. We can marry someone of different beliefs, but how are you going to incorporate this into the us that I was talking about? Are you somewhat established as far as job or career? Do you feel stable and secure in your livelihood? Do you have goals and a direction in your life for your vocation? Are your finances manageable? Or are you entering a union with massive debt? I suggest you have these matters worked out and have some sense of direction before getting married. The most important advice I share with people of all ages: live at or below your means. You will never need Dave Ramsey or have financial problems if you aren't in debt, or at least manageable debt. For example, if you are a business owner and have startup or investment costs. Maybe you're almost done paying off college loans. Way too many Americans are burdened and crushed by debt. You have tremendous freedom if you are savvy about your finances. Do you get along with people? How is your relationship with your parents, with your future in-laws? How do you treat others? How do you treat animals? Today I've talked about a lot of things that you can do before marriage, namely knowing about yourself, accepting yourself, and having the courage to share your weaknesses that could have an impact on your relationship. I'd like you to maybe listen to this podcast a second time and answer some of the questions I posed in the last 15 minutes. I talked about the importance of having an us perspective. Remember, love is a decision. Take your time. There is no rush or pressure. Getting married is one of the most important decisions of your life. Next week, we'll talk about knowing your partner. Until then, make your marriage great.